So now we have a strain energy or elastic strain energy. So the first case we will deal to find the elastic strain energy is the bar under axial load. Okay. So this is the bar on which the axial load F is acting. Okay. So this is a circular bar. Area of cross section is pi d square by 4. Okay. So strain energy is equal to half into load I into extension by that load. Okay. So delta is the extension happening by that load F. Okay. If you are having more than one cross section or more than one joints, okay, you are having a series connection of bars. So if you are having various cross sections, so you can find that total strain energy as a from the superposition principle, that summation of 1 by 2 into Fi into delta Li means load on the ith length and delta Li is the elongation of that length. Okay, so you can also use superposition principle if you are having more than one cross section or length. Okay, so in general strain energy U is equal to half into F into delta L. So F is the load acting and delta is the elongation by that load F. Okay, so if you are having various cross section or the load is varying, okay, in that case you can perform the integration. So in terms of integration, you have U is equal to integration 0 to L, okay, Fx square by dx into A into E. Okay, A is a cross sectional area which is a constant and E is a modulus of elasticity which is also a constant. All these two values are constant values. A and E are constant values and Fx is varying. If you are having Fx as a varying, so if Fx square into dx 0 to L. So this is the strain energy. Okay, this is nothing but, because delta L is nothing but F into L by A into E. We have already seen delta L is equal to PL by AE. P is the load, L is the length, A is the area of cross section and E is the modulus of elasticity. So half into F into L by AE will give you F square L by 2AE. So in terms of integration you have F square x dx by 2AE. Okay, integration 0 to L. So first case is prismatic bar with self weight. Okay, so if having only self weight, so gamma is the weight density or weight per unit volume is equal to rho g is equal to W by AL. W is the weight, AL is the volume, A is the area of cross section, L is the length, so AL is the volume. So in terms of self weight we have 0 to L gamma AX square into dx by 2AE. So gamma x is nothing but Wx. Okay, means weight at position x. Again prismatic bar with self weight and a constant load at the end. So P is the constant load acting at the end. So in that case you are also having the self weight and also the load is also acting. In that case a strain energy will be equal to 0 to L gamma AX plus P का whole square into dx. Okay, so self weight and constant load at the end. So U is equal to 0 to L gamma AX plus P का whole square into dx by 2AE. Okay, so P is the constant load at the end. Second, beam subjected to pure bending moment. Okay, so one beam is there, this is the beam, and this has been subjected to a pure bending moment, means only bending moment is acting on that beam and that bending moment is m. Okay, so R is the radius of curvature and theta is the angle obtained at the center of curvature. So this is the center of curvature and theta is the angle obtained at the center of curvature. Okay, so in that case when beam is subjected to pure bending moment, we will have a strain energy is equal to 0 to L m square x into dx. Okay, so mx square is bending moment at position x and dx is the elemental length by 2ai. Okay, both E means modulus of elasticity and I moment of inertia or area moment of inertia is constant values. Okay, so both E and I are constant values. which is also equal to half into m into theta. M is the total bending moment and theta is the bending happened. Okay, means theta is the deformation. In terms of, we have length, so m square L by 2ae. Okay. Now circular bar in torso. Okay, so this is the cross section. Okay, this is the circular bar and this is the cross section happening. So this is the shear force F is acting and doing the torsion. So from this is the delta phi value, means delta phi is the distortion happening or the shear strain. Okay, and delta S is the shear length. Okay, so delta S is the shear length. Now delta S is equal to R delta phi. R is the radius up to that point at which F is acting. So this is the radius. Okay, or radius of curvature you may say, but it's radius. Okay, so radius up to which the F is acting. So delta S is equal to R delta phi. Okay, now work done is equal to 2 into F delta S. Okay, and phi is equal to TL by Gj. T is the torsion, L is the length, G is the modulus of rigidity due to gravity, modulus of rigidity. Okay, J is the polar moment of inertia. Okay, polar moment of inertia. J is polar moment of inertia. G is modulus of rigidity. L is the length. T is the torsion. Okay, and phi is the angle of twist. So phi is equal to T into L by G into J. Okay, G is the modulus of rigidity. J is polar moment of inertia. T is torsion. L is length. Okay, so mu is equal U is equal to, means total strain energy is equal to half into torsion into phi. Phi is the angle of twist. Okay, is equal to half into, phi can be expressed in terms of L also. So half into T square L by Gj. Okay, is equal to, in terms of integration, 0 to L T square x dx by 2 Gj. Okay, in terms of volume, 0 to V tau square. Tau is the shear stress. Okay, so 0 to V tau square x by 2g into dv. Okay, so tau is the shear stress, or in terms of dx we have 0 to L tau square x into dx by 2ag. Okay, A is the area of cross section. Now one tightening of nut. Okay, so you have a nut which is made of a steel and it is inside a copper tube and you are doing the tightening of that nut. Okay, so N into P. N is the number of turns and P is the pitch. Okay, means the distance moved with one revolution. So P is the pitch, means the distance moved by the nut in one revolution. So number of revolution into distance moved in one revolution is equal to sigma SL by ES minus sigma C into L by ES. Now sigma S into L, because because the bolt which is made of a steel is getting elongated and the tube that is made of copper is getting compressed. Okay, so this is minus sign, sigma C is minus and sigma S is positive. Okay, also there is no other force is acting, so PS is equal to PC, means sigma AS into AS is equal to sigma C into AC. So sigma S is the induced stress in a steel and sigma C is the induced stress in copper. Okay, AS is the area of cross section of the steel and AC is the area of cross section of the copper. Okay, ES and EC are modulus of elasticity of steel and modulus of elasticity of copper. Okay, and length will be same for both. Okay, both copper tube and nut will have the same. Okay, now temperature stress. Not along with this tightening of nut, if you are also facing temperature issue also, so in that case once again delta 1 is equal to delta 2 because both are joined together. So L alpha C delta T minus sigma C into L by EC is equal to L alpha S delta T plus sigma S L into ES. Same thing happening here, that copper is having more coefficient of expansion, so it tries to expand more, but a steel is pulling it back, so the copper is facing a compressive stress while a steel is facing a tensile stress because copper is pulling it, and because a steel is getting pulled by copper. However, the copper is getting pulled by a steel. So a steel is pulling it in compression while copper is pushing a steel into tension. Okay. So L alpha C delta T, which is a positive value because both will elongate. So both L alpha C delta T is a positive value and L alpha S is a positive value. Okay. Now minus sigma C because copper is having compressive forces acting, and sigma S means a steel is having tensile force acting. So temperature stress delta 1 is equal to delta 2. This is the L alpha C delta T minus sigma C L by EC is equal to L alpha S delta T plus sigma S into L by ES. Okay. ES and EC are modulus of elasticity of copper and steel respectively. Okay. Now total stress will be a stress induced due to 1 and 2, means tightening of nut also and due to temperature stress also. So in case of copper, you will have sigma C1 plus C2, means C1 due to tightening and C2 due to temperature stress, and sigma S will be 1 due to tightening and 2 due to temperature. Okay. Now area of cross section of a hollow cylinder is equal to pi by 4 d naught square minus di square. Okay. So you have to remember this because I also did mistake about this, that sometimes when thickness were given, I just unintentionally did that, the pi d naught t. Okay, it happens sometimes. So you have to keep this in mind that when thickness is given, you have to find di value, means inside diameter value, and then you have to find the area of cross section of a hollow cylinder, which is equal to pi square pi by 4 into d naught square minus di square. Okay, it is the thickness. Now few definitions. Ductility. So ductility is the property due to which material can be stretched. Now brittleness is lack of ductility, means the material is not ductile, means it's a brittle material. Okay. So malleability. So malleability is the property of material due to which it can be converted into thin sheets by pressing it. Okay. And hardness is the resistance to a scratch or abrasion. Okay. So if a material is hard, it will resist the scratch or abrasion. Okay. It will be hard to make a scratch or any mark on that body. Okay. Law of linear strain or rate of linear strain. Rate of linear strain is a different thing, but in the question sometimes rate of linear strain is asked as a linear strain. Okay. So if in the question you are asked linear strain, you can also find using this formula. Okay. So epsilon x is equal to dou of u into x, epsilon by is equal to or epsilon x or epsilon by or epsilon z. I have written xx by or z. You can also write at x by and z. So epsilon x, epsilon by, epsilon z is equal to epsilon x is equal to dou of u by dou of x, epsilon by is equal to dou of v by dou of by, epsilon z is equal to dou of w by dou of z, and u, v, w are components of velocity along x direction, y direction and z direction respectively. Okay. So once again, u, v and w are the components of velocity along x direction, y direction and z direction respectively. Okay. So from that velocity you can find the rate of linear strain. Okay. Now shear strain or rate of shear strain. Okay. So this is the rate of shear strain, but in the question you may also have to find shear strain from this value. Okay. So phi x by or phi by x is equal to dou of u by dou of by plus dou of v plus dou of x, and phi by z is equal to phi z by is equal to dou of w by dou of by plus dou of v plus dou of z, and phi xz is equal to phi zx is equal to dou of w plus dou of x plus dou of u plus dou of z. Okay. So you can see here that component along x direction has been differentiated with z direction. Okay. And component along z direction has been differentiated with x direction, and similarly here by x is here, so u is in the x direction and it is differentiated with respect to y. V is in the y direction and it is differentiated with respect to x. Okay, so this is the way you have to remember. Similarly, phi zy is equal to dou of w by dou of y, means w is in the z direction while it has been differentiated with respect to y, and v is in the y direction but it has been differentiated with respect to z. Okay. Now this one question, okay, this has been asked in ISRO. So both are the same questions, but just a change of diagrams is there. So this is the P force acting at 3 wires that are connected, or 3 strings are connected, or 3 columns are connected. You can assume it at any like that. It's a column, a string, or wire. So P is acting at this point and P is acting at the intersection of these 2 wires. Okay, so P is acting at the intersection of these 2 wires. In here also P is acting at the intersection of these 3 wires, and theta is the inclination of these wires with the vertical. Okay, so theta is here and both are equally inclined to the vertical. You can see that. So this equally inclined are 1 and this one vertical is the 2. Okay, so here it's 2. So in this question we have 2f1 cos theta plus f2 is equal to p. So p is the load acting and f1 and f2 are the induced forces in that columns. Okay, so f1 is the induced stresses in 1 and f2 is the induced stresses in 2. Okay, so both these two will have f1 and this will have f2. So 2f1 cos theta plus f2 is equal to p. Okay, so nothing but in the bidirection the force has been summed. Okay, so summation of force in the bidirection has been done here, and also delta 2 cos theta is equal to delta 1 because elongation is same. Okay, in that direction of f, delta 2 cos theta is there and delta 1 is there. So delta 2 cos theta is equal to delta 1, or f2L2 by A2A2 may be there. So A2E2 into cos theta is equal to F1L1 by A1E1. Okay, so change it to A2. So F2L2 by A2E2 into cos theta is equal to F1L1 by A1 into E1. Okay. Once again, this is one question. The 3 strings are there attached to a load W, means a weight W. Okay, so 1 and 2 are there. In this case 2f1 plus 2f2 2f1 plus f2 is equal to W. Okay, so this is 1, this is also 1 and this is 2. So both 1 are of the same material and 2 is of the second material. Okay. So 2f1 plus f2 is equal to W and delta L1 is equal to delta L2. Okay, so whatever the extension will be happening in 1 will be happening in 2 because it's a symmetrical, the arrangement is symmetrical. Okay, equal length, both 1 and 2 are at equal length from 2 and 2 is in the middle. Okay, so delta L1 is equal to delta L2, means extension of 1 is equal to extension of 2. Now the last question. Okay, now this is a weight of W or mg. Okay, now this weight mg has been dropped from a height h. Okay, now in the first case it is dropped to a column. Okay, and in second case it is dropped upon a spring. So in both case it doesn't matter. So in both case we have delta static is equal to WL by AE or mg by K. K is the stiffness of the spring, a stiffness constant. Okay, so K is the stiffness of the spring, mg is the mass into gravity. Okay, which is also equal to weight. Okay, W. So delta static is equal to WL by AE. Okay, compression will be happening in WL by AE, and if the spring is happening, compression will be mg by K. Okay, so this is the delta static. Now maximum elongation or maximum compression that will be happening due to this drop. Okay, so that maximum elongation or maximum compression is equal to delta static into impact factor. So delta static is here WL by AE or mg by K, and impact factor is 1 plus under root of 1 plus 2h by delta static. Okay. Now you can also find h from, if you are given velocity, you can find h from v square is equal to 2gh. Okay, it's nothing but half mv square is equal to mgh. Okay, because potential energy conservation means energy conservation is there, so potential energy is equal to kinetic energy. So half mv square is equal to mgh, and from that we get v square is equal to 2gh. Okay, so you can find h also if you are given v. So this is the thing here. So thank you.